Hello, YouTube. Today I thought we would discuss Sammath Gul or SG and do a tier 2 challenge dungeon guide. This dungeon is a little bit challenging. It's probably a bit overtuned in some ways, so I thought it would be a good one to start with for a guide. And maybe in the future they will, nerf it. Alrighty. So the first boss is this fire dude, and he does two things. One is he puts this eye on people, and the phrase that he should say is, let's see if we can catch it again. Can you handle the burn? So the can you handle the burn is he puts an eye on you. Nope, that's wrong. It's the will you bring doom to your friends? Will you bring doom to your friends? He puts an eye on you, and then you run off to a corner, and then you'll explode, and then you come back to the or the eye will kind of disappear. You won't necessarily explode. If you're too close to the group with the eye, the entire fellowship will start taking damage, and you kind of feel like you're exploding, as your health will just vanish. And then so yeah, will you bring doom to your friends? You run away with the eye, then you're all fine. There's the only other mechanic you have to consider is can you handle the burn? I wonder, trying to see if he'll do it relatively soon here. No, that was me running away. You bring doom to your friends. Well, it might be here. Can you handle the burn? So, how the mechanic is supposed to work with can you handle the burn is he picks a person, right? Can you handle the burn and picks a person. What you're supposed to do is be grouped up at that point because the damage done is distributed. So the more people that are within a certain area, the less damage everyone takes. But the problem, and the reason why this is actually incredibly overtuned, is that you can be grouped up, and anyone that's under like 5.5 5k to 5.5k morale and doesn't have tier 2 capped tactical mitigations, they die. Even if all six of you are grouped up, you still die. I believe they've talked about nerfing this so that you do actually survive. So I wanted to mention it just in case it does get nerfed in the future. I might double check that quickly. Yeah, because they just released a patch today, I think. Or announced a patch, and it comes out. It'll probably come out. It'll come out before this video comes out. A skill has been, damage dealt by death finger skill, which I'm pretty sure is this explosion one, is reduced by 66%. So I'm hoping that fixes this, and that's why I think I can talk about the mechanic of, so when can you handle the burn? You stand together in group and you shouldn't die. If you're finding that the group is still dying, even if you are grouped up, or if one person is still dying from it because the health pool isn't enough or tactical mitigation isn't enough, what you do is you just run behind the pillar. You'll know that it's you because one, he says, can you handle the burn? And then your name will appear in the phrase, right? Just the same thing with will you bring doom to your friends? But the other thing is he actually specifically turns and looks to you. So if he's targeting you and you start moving, he'll just follow you as you begin to move. So that's how you know that he's targeting you. Just run. Yeah, see, there's a good example of that. Perfect timing, video. So watch this. So you have this hobbit. Can you handle the burn? He's targeting the hobbit. You'll see as the hobbit runs around, the boss will follow the hobbit, right? So the boss is still facing the hobbit as the hobbit runs around. So what you do is you line of sight the mechanic. So you run behind the altar, and then the distributed explosion damage that the boss is supposed to do won't actually happen, and you're then safe, you're alive, no damage went out, you come back and you continue on. So that's why the boss is tanked here, so that mechanic can happen. Now the only other thing that needs to be considered is near the end of the fight. This is the massive the flames begin to fill in the chamber. So this happens at about 25% health remaining on the boss, and fire begins to fill the chamber. And this is essentially the DPS race. This is, you pop Oathbreakers, any kind of high DPS cooldowns, your biggest abilities, any pots that you have that you can use first, depending on your class. This is where you use everything you possibly can. And then as stuff happens, right? Or as the fight continues, the room fills up with more and more fire. So you just got to move accordingly, right? You just move out of the fire, more fire there. Eventually, what will happen is the entire room does fill up with fire. So then at that point, you have to kill the boss before you all die. It's true. We've reached maximum DPS raise. So the ways to avoid this is if you have a Runekeeper. I wish I remember what the ability was called, but they have their bubble ability, right? That they put on the bubble on everybody, and they have a little bit of purple health. You put that on. You have the rune stone that reduces damage taken if the rune stone's within a certain distance to the player. So they put that down. Once that ends, yellow lore masters couldn't put down their warding lore, which is that big purple circle area. Or yellow lore masters can do that. I think minstrels have something similar, or like that's where you'd pop like Fellowship's Heart kind of thing. So that's where you just use big healing cooldowns, big defensive cooldowns, and then just pump into the boss and try to kill it, because it is truly a race at that point. We do end up killing it here. You can kind of see that, right? We had some roll at half health. Got a little defensive here. You still get the same mechanics too, right? You still get the can you handle the burn? So people are still running behind the altar so that we don't have to be grouped up for that while taking all this insane amount of damage. You're still going to get eyes. Run through the fire to the other side of the room, because you dying in the corner is better than the entire group dying when the boss has less than 50,000 health. Yellow Lore Master or a Burglar is really good for this dungeon. I would still recommend a Yellow Lore Master over a Burglar, because Yellow Lore Master has a little bit more healing, right? They have some off heals that they can still heal the raid with. They have their debuffs on the boss, but also the buffs to help that end of the fight there, where you can reduce the Fellowship's incoming damage. Runekeepers are probably they're the best healer for this, aside from probably Bear. We did it without one, as you can see, which is fine. I'm just saying it'll be easier with these classes. It's easier with a Lore Master. It's easier with a Runekeeper or Bear. It's probably a little bit easier with a Captain as well, because Captain has a little bit more group buffs. So it's just easier with those groups, or with those specific classes. All right, moving on to the next boss here. Right, this is the lightning boss. First boss is immune to fire damage. If you're a fire RK or a red lore master, don't be a red lore master. Don't be a fire RK. Be a yellow lore master and a lightning RK. or be a blue lore master and a lightning RK. Because yeah, the boss is immune to fire damage. This boss is immune to lightning damage. So don't be a yellow runekeeper. Go back to fire. Your lightning skills as a lore master won't do anything. So that's your staff strike, your lightning storm, and that's it. Yes. So this boss is a lot more simple. All you do is stand where we're standing. I'm hoping I rotate my camera a little bit so you can see it. So that's the exit right here. The entrance was over here. This is the boss's platform. My back is towards the outside of the room. Did I not rotate the camera? Oh, maybe. Am I an idiot? I was maybe an idiot and didn't rotate. Oh, there we go. Aha. So that's a little bit better. So there's this is where the boss starts. There's these two statues. There's these two, I'll call them lanterns, spiky lanterns. So you stand here so that what happens is when you get knocked back, you just get knocked back into the wall. The tank is on the outside. It's going to be taking a lot of damage. It's going to be knocked back constantly. But the boss doesn't move. So, right, we get pushed back. We just go back to this little spot here. You can kind of see, so there's a little bit of a grid here on this platform, right? Another way to kind of align it is you kind of want to be on on this 3x3 grid, and then there's this line to separate the four sections. If you stand kind of where we're standing, right, on these two grid pieces or right along the line, you also avoid a lot of the bonus damage. So the other thing that this boss does, aside from this knockback and just doing a bunch of damage, is the second phase. He does this. There's these lightning abilities. So there's the mechanic of you stray too far. That's where we're grouped. When you stay grouped and you're this close to the boss, you avoid a mechanic. So that's why I'm just saying, just stand here and it'll make your life easier. Is this where air crackles as lightning begins to strike? So now you move back, right? There was that there's the statue here, and then what we called the torch, the spiky torch. So now you move back into this corner. You're moving on to the opposite end of that grid, kind of on the edge of the stairs here. And now what happens is you take less damage from this lightning that comes down, right? I'll see that again. There's some lightning. There's some lightning. There's another one right here. So there's this red square, and there's these lightning strikes. So standing in this specific location, you will only generally be hit by like one, maybe two lightning strikes, and you don't have to move. You just kind of take the damage and let the healer do their job. If you're anywhere else, you're taking 3, 4, 5 lightning strikes. Sometimes you're taking no lightning strikes. It's supposed to be random, but in this specific spot, it's a little bit less random. So you're making it easier for the healer to keep up with the random damage that's being sent out. So if you all stand here, including the tank is now moved back here. There's a little bit less damage because the lightning strike, happen there. It's random, but they're in assigned positions. So the lightning strike will always happen just around you, and then there'll be another one that happens just around you, and then there'll be one that happens kind of on you. And then depending on where you're standing, a couple might overlap. But for the most part, you're going to just not take a whole lot of damage. So there's one that hit us, but that was it. And they do hit hard, right? It's about like quarter to half your health. But that's that. That's the entire fight. You don't need. I switched off of yellow. The other lore master in the group was either still red. No, I think they were blue because the eagle. So they were just in blue. You don't need debuffs on this boss. Does it make it easier or faster? Maybe, but like I'm not. It's just to say that you don't need the debuffs to survive the fight. You need the debuffs in the first fight to survive. This one you don't because it's way less damage you're taking. All right, now we'll go to the third boss. Third boss is pretty easy. Easy in that it's not even close, just even remotely as hard as the first boss. But the whole challenge is, while Gorothul, the boss, is alive, do not defeat ancient fell spirits. There's going to be blue little ghosts that come to the boss. Don't kill them. Don't AoE them. There's other spirits that show up that you can kill, that you can mez and CC. There's 3 different types of spirits, but this is a cool... Oh, wait, this part, I love this. This is the best intro of any boss fight. Even while I am not here, my servant will crush your benefit. Attempts to detect Guldur. Anyways, I love this intro with Sauron. Okay, so stand here. So these spirits you can kill. The Lore Master one you want to keep Mez, because the Lore Master one will do a knockback and push you away and put you into the corners and summon extra spirits and stuff. Basically, the whole concept of this fight is you have to focus Gorothul, because as the fight continues on, you're just going to be taking more and more damage, because there's just going to be a whole bunch of ads that spawn. So you don't want to get distracted with the ads. You just want to focus on the boss. So you can help reduce a little bit of the damage by mezzing them. As I take a while to mez this one. There we go. I mezzed it finally. So we can help negate some of the damage, and then eventually that spirit will disappear. So now the spirit's gone. But you can kill it if you want. You don't want to, because it's just taking damage away from the boss, right? And the whole point was kill the boss before things get out of hand. So interrupt, and then boom, CC'd it. Just leave it there. These ghosts, these blue spirits, ancient Guldur spirit. Let's see if I target it again so you can see it. I tried to click on it so you can see its name, as I play with floating. There we go. So do not defeat the ancient fell spirits. These are the ancient fell spirits. Do not kill these. Yeah, don't kill them. Leave everything alone. Just focus the boss. Let the CC'er and the tank control everything. Just don't AoE. Focus the boss. That is basically the entire fight. And then the boss will consume spirits. Don't worry about these spirits. These spirits come from the bones. I think I tried to mez it, and you can't. They're immune to CC, so once they come out, that's it. That's just what they are. So they'll just keep summoning these skeletons, so they're like, well, you should go kill it, but don't want to lose challenge, and don't want to waste time. Just focus killing the boss. Once the blue spirits disappear, you then can AoE to get rid of the skeletons if you wish. If you're a champion or bear, you have some good AoE. Red Lore Master, you could take out the skeletons if you wish. But anyways, don't kill the fell spirits. You can kill the skeletons. Stun doesn't work either, as you see there. But that's the fight. Just focus the boss. CC things. It gets really hectic as there's more and more skeletons that are coming out. Try to CC as much as you can. Those ones you can kill. right? So these spirits you can kill, just these blue ones you can't. And don't bother with the white ones. They're a waste. I end up dying. 2 more people end up dying. But we do eventually kill it there. And it was a little bit scary. All right. So yeah, very simple boss. Focus boss. CC what you can. Ignore everything. Just boss only. All right. Last boss, which they have just buffed. So this is the boss that you only get if you haven't failed the challenge. So because you don't fail the challenge by killing the spirits in that previous boss, the doors then open so that you can kill this boss. There's nothing else you need to worry about. It's just kill this boss and you get the challenge loot. So quickly to discuss the changes that are happening with this boss. The boss gains power while their fell shield is suppressed by the power of bones. So what happens is you can't do damage to this boss unless you kill a skeleton near him. Right? So he's not taking damage right now. Absorbed, resisted, absorbed. This skeleton dies. I'm just AoEing a whole bunch because that's just what lore masters do. This skeleton dies, and now I can do all of this damage. Right? So now the boss starts losing damage, and then eventually the boss will get the so-called the bone shield back up. So that is supposedly what this change is referring to, is when the bone shield is up, or power of bones, he gains power. Or no, while the fellow shield is suppressed by the power of bones. I think that means then when the shield's gone, his powers he hits harder. Well, that's great. The boss will drop an additional level 65 cloak. That's kind of nice. And then gains a powerful skill when empowered by the corruptions of defeated Guldur Corpses. So he's gaining power when he doesn't have the shield, and when he does have the shield, that's fun. Okay, thanks SSG. That's what we want. That's what the players wanted. So this boss might get a little bit harder, but anyways, so you kill skeletons to break the shield of the boss, so that you can deal damage to the boss. There's a lot of AoEs on the ground that you just kind of have to deal with. The only thing that you don't want to deal with is, you see this green fire that is moving around the room. Basically what you want to do is you want to stay to the right of the fire. Move clockwise around the boss and stay to the right of the fire. Every time the fire moves, you move. Right? So the fire is going to move to the next corner here. So the fire moves, then we all move. I'm later because I have casting stuff. But then what will eventually happen is half the room is then full of fire. So now, just every time half the room is filled, move to the next half, right? So, but you're still staying on the right side of the fire. To spawn the skeletons, right, there's a bone pile. This is the entrance to the room. So when you enter the room, right to the right is a bone pile. Activate the bone pile by stepping on it just before you pull the boss. And then that will make it so that something is being summoned fast enough for you to kill the boss. But that's the fight. So the fight is easy. It's another healing intensive fight because everyone's going to be taking constant damage because there's ads summoning, there's ads hitting the healer. We're standing in debuffs and stuff all the time. But yeah, that is the fight. And then you kill the boss. You then go kill the skeleton, and you get your loot after that. But yeah, that is the dungeon. That is Sammath Gul. Hopefully these changes that we talked about will make the first boss a lot easier and more enjoyable at least, and people aren't getting one shot. And then hopefully this final boss that we just saw isn't too difficult because I just read the changes, right? And they just gave more skills and more powerful stuff when the boss has a shield and his shield is consumed by skeletons and all that fun stuff. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful. I'm hoping to do another class guide this week. If not, it'll definitely be next week. And then I'll try to get the other two dungeons, or sorry, three dungeons done. They're a little bit easier. The only other one is the dungeons of Guldur are a little bit of a pain, but it's not hard. It's just or well, it's not hard, but it is hard. It's just it's annoying and tedious with how the mechanics work. So I'll try to get a guide on that one for you guys. But sword halls and warg pens are pretty straightforward. And I'm also hoping to get a raid guide out as well. Maybe that one I'm gonna probably film it this week, and then I'll get it out to you guys next week. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.